Welcome. Tonight's homework will be page 689 to 691, problems 9 through 24, 26 through 34, and 39 through 46. Reminders for some long-term assignments. Don't forget, if you go to Bolinder, your quiz over 12.1 through 12.3 will be on Thursday. If you go to Prairie, then your quiz over 12.1 through 12.3 will be on Friday. The quarter 4 review packet will be due on May 2nd, and the states project will be due on Monday, May 5th. Today we will be working with chapter 12.1, looking at angle relationships. Our goal for today is to classify special pairs of angles. Complementary angles are two angles are complementary angles if the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. I remember these because complementary, C, comes before supplementary, S, and 90 comes before 180. Vertical angles. When two lines intersect at one point, the angles that are opposite each other are vertical angles. At this point, you may pause the video and resume it after you have completed the definition. Example number 1. In quadrilateral PQRS, identify all pairs of complementary angles and supplementary angles. So we are looking for angles that add together to give us 90 degrees for complementary or 180 degrees for supplementary. Because the measure of angle Q is 35 degrees and the measure of angle R is 55 degrees, and we add those together, they equal 90 degrees. So angle Q and angle R are complementary angles. Because the measure of angle P plus the measure of angle Q is equal to 145 degrees plus 35 degrees, and that equals 180 degrees. Angle P and angle Q are supplementary angles. Because the measure of angle R plus the measure of angle S is equal to 55 degrees plus 125 degrees, and that is equal to 180 degrees. Angle R and angle S are also supplementary angles. So a checkpoint. At this point, please pause the video, do problems 1 through 3, and then play it again to make sure that you have done them correctly. If I add together 37 plus 73 I get 110. Since that is neither 90 degrees nor 180 degrees, the answer to this is neither. Problem number 2. 42 degrees plus 48 degrees is 90 degrees. 90 degrees is complementary. Number 3, 127 plus 53 is 180 degrees. That makes these angles supplementary. Example number 2. Adjacent angles that form a right angle are complementary, because that would make it a 90-degree angle. Adjacent angles that form a straight angle are supplementary, making it 180 degrees. For the diagram shown, angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles, and the measure of angle 1 is 46 degrees. Find the measure of angle 2. Since the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 has to equal 90 degrees, we can figure this out. We know that the measure of angle 1 is 46 degrees, and adding them together needs to be 90 degrees. So subtract the 46 from the 90, and we get that the measure of angle 2 is 44 degrees. Another checkpoint. Again, pause the video, work problems 4 through 7, and then when you are ready, press play so that you may check your answers. Problem number 4, they are complementary angles. Remember that complementary means 90 degrees. So we can do 90 degrees minus 64 degrees, and we get that this angle is 26 degrees for the measure of angle 2. Number 5, 90 degrees minus 13 degrees is 77 degrees. The measure of angle 2 is 77 degrees. Number 6, 90 degrees minus 82 degrees is 8 degrees. The measure of angle 2 is 8 degrees. Number 7, 90 degrees minus 7 degrees is 83 degrees. The measure of angle 2 is 83 degrees. Example 3, using supplementary and vertical angles. For the diagram shown, the measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees. The measure of angle 2, 3, and 4 is what we need to find. The measure of angle 1 and the measure plus the measure of angle 2 creates a straight edge, or a straight angle when put together, which is a 180-degree angle. They are supplementary. So since the measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees, and the measure plus the measure of angle 2 needs to be 180 degrees, we find by subtracting 65 from each side that the measure of angle 2 is 115 degrees. Now that I know that the measure of angle 2 is 115 degrees, I can use vertical angles which have the same measure to determine what the other two angles are. The measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 1, since these two angles are vertical angles, which means that the measure of angle 3 is also 65 degrees. The same thing goes for angle 2 and angle 4. The measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle 2. Since angle 2 is 115 degrees, that makes angle 4 115 degrees. Checkpoint. Again, pause your video, go through the 3 problems, and when you are ready, you may play again to check your answers. Number 8. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles, and the measure of angle 1 is 132 degrees. So supplementary angles are 180 degrees, so we can subtract the 132 from 180, and we get 48 degrees for the measure of angle 2. Angle 3 and angle 4 are also supplementary angles, so 180. And the measure of angle 3 is 23 degrees. So we subtract the 23 degrees from 180 and find that the measure of angle 4 is 157 degrees. Number 10. In example 3, suppose that the measure of angle 1 is 54 degrees. The measure of angle 2, 3, and 4 we need to find. Remember that problem 1 looks like this, with the measure of angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. If the measure of angle 1 is 54 degrees, we need to find the measure of angle 2. So we take 180 minus the 54, and we find that the measure of angle 2 is 126 degrees. Using vertical angles, we can then find the measure of angle 3, which is equal to the measure of angle 1 to be 54 degrees. And the measure of angle 4 is a vertical angle of angle 2, so the measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle 2, which is 126 degrees. That concludes lesson 12.1. Again, tonight's homework is page 689 to 691, 9 through 24, 26 through 34, 39 through 46.